Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule has opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond in your top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video.
Hey everybody, Mo here, and today bringing you guys the 5 best decks to climb with on a ladder in the new season, A Curious Journey. So previously I put out a video called 5 decks to look out for in the new set, like 5 new decks to play. And now we're a couple weeks into the meta, a couple weeks into the new season. Meta's kind of settled a little bit. We've gotten a little bit more optimized versions of some good decks. And so I'm here to tell you what the 5 best decks are, in my opinion, to climb with on the ladder if you want to try and hit Masters or Diamond or whatever rank you are trying to hit. These are the decks that people are playing the most. These are the decks that are performing the best. And I am here to tell you about the decks, kind of give you a small overview of maybe how to play them, and then that way you can abuse these very strong decks to hit whatever rank it is you're trying to do. But before we get into the video, I wanted to remind you guys that 72% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you guys could do me a huge favor and click that subscribe button and leave a comment down below, letting me know what type of content you guys want to see in the future. If you want to see more of this educational type content with the deck guides, the like tips and tricks on how to get to Masters, the decks, the Meta Monday, stuff like that. Or if you want to see more gameplay videos like PvE, ladder, you know, whatever it is, fun decks, meme decks, competitive decks, let me know down in the comments below, and then I will try to make videos on those. I'll take that feedback in and use it to give you guys the best content I possibly can. So that's it for the intro. Let's get into the video. So the first deck we're going to talk about here is Scouts. Scouts is very strong right now. Scouts has been strong for a couple of seasons now. I've been saying that. People have kind of shrugged it off as, oh, Scouts, haha, you don't draw MF, deck bad. Well, people quickly realize that Vanguard Sergeant, good. Like, getting free for Demacia makes this deck really good. It essentially allows you to play 6 Misfortune. So you can mulligan, and if you hit either Misfortune or Quinn or Vanguard Sergeant, all of a sudden now you just have like a solid deck, because the 4 Demacia plus Rally, like 4 Demacia and Scout and Rally is enough to carry any game. Your opponent just can't deal with that board most of the time, unless they just have like insanely large units or a Ruination or something of that nature. But what makes Scout so great on this patch is the 2 additions to the deck of Broadwing, Petricite Broadwing, and Duran Sculptor. I will have a deck code to all of these decks down below, by the way, so don't worry about that. If any of these decks interest you, make sure to click the link down in the description below. And the website I'm using for all of this is Runeterra.ar. Amazing website, beautiful website. It's where I go to get all of my statistics, all of my decks, all of my everything. Runeterra.ar. Not sponsored by them, just an amazing website. But the 2 additions that makes this deck over the top now are Duran Sculptor and Petricite Broadwing. So Duran Sculptor is literally broken in this deck. Like, the problem with Misfortune is that she's at 3/3, so she's really easy to kill on turn 3 because she has 3 HP and a lot of things deal 3 damage. You know, get excited. Some themes, usually like a tempoed out Thermogen, stuff like that can kill your Misfortune for 3. Well, Duran Sculptor now makes your Misfortune at 4 HP, so she's a 3/4. That makes her insanely hard to kill. Other things that try and challenge Misfortune, like your opponent's 3/3 Challenger units, no longer can challenge Misfortune. It makes things really difficult for your opponent. And the second unit we have here is Petricite Broadwing. A lot of people had stopped playing Blinding Assault and started playing more Petricites, just because 2-mana 3/3 Challenger is so broken, man. Like, this 2-mana 3/3 Challenger allows you to just kill a 2/1 and then simultaneously block, or not simultaneously, but then immediately after that block a 1 HP unit. So you get to go 2 for 1 with your 2-drop, which is absolutely nuts. If you pair Duran Sculptor with the Broadwing, now it's basically a 4/4 Challenger, which is nuts. You pair it with something like a Vanguard Sergeant or a Laurent Bladekeeper, now you have like a 6/6 or a 5/5, and it just gets absolutely out of hand really quickly. And it's super good. This is one of the best cards in the new set. Honestly, this is stronger than like half of the champions that came out in the new set. Every Demacia deck right now is basically carried by Broadwing. This card is super, super strong, so it really helps scouts out in a lot of the matchups that needed to be helped out in. So scouts really, really strong against all types of control decks, all types of like decks that don't play direct removal for things like the Misfortune, and then of course Sculptor making those direct removal spells even more difficult. Deck number 2 is going to be Darkness. So Darkness has kind of been revamped. Darkness has been changed quite a bit. We've seen Cephalopod do really, really well with this type of deck, posting it on Twitter. The old version of Darkness is kind of outdated. You see here, this deck's playing, 3 Wallops instead of Minimorph. Is playing Piercing Darkness to kill off bigger units. You don't need Withering Will to go wide as much. And then you play, a lot of people have taken out their group shots to play the Otterpuss. So you could like make that change if you want to, or keep in the group shot. And this deck is just a tear, man. Like Darkness is so, so, so good right now. It loses hard to Scouts because Scouts is really good against any removal style deck, thanks to things like Sharpsight and Ranger's Resolve. But outside of that, this deck smokes so many things. You have your big removal spells with things like Piercing Darkness and Vengeance. Then you have your board wipe and the 1 Ruination for your mass board clear if you need it against things like Yordle and Arms. Against the smaller units in Yordle and Arms, if you don't have the Ruination mana, you have Vile Feast, Pokestick, Group Shot, Wallop, which is absolutely insane. And then a lot of people took out Miscall to play the new Transpose, I believe it's what it's called. So like you can make that upgrade if you want to, or just keep it Miscall. So that way your champions are extremely hard to kill. So even if your opponent tries to kill your Senna, tries to kill your Vigar, tries to kill your Rekindler, you just bring it back, and it's just absolutely insane value again. It's honestly just absolutely nuts. So Darkness in an amazing spot. It keeps all of the aggro decks in check, keeps a lot of the mid-range decks in check, keeps your combo decks in check like the Lee Sins. It absolutely destroys decks like Lee Sin. And it closes games out really quickly now thanks to Sin of Vigar, and you are so not vulnerable to a lot of things thanks to the Wallop instead of Minimorph, because a lot of decks were getting cheesed out by like attached units, because if you don't know, Minimorph doesn't actually affect the attached units. So if somebody puts Scout Elusive onto a unit and you try to Minimorph it, it doesn't actually do anything. So people realize that, hey, this 3-mana stun card pretty damn good, on top of the fact that like it deals 1 damage, which can randomly set things up to die, to like Piercing Darkness and Pokestick and stuff like that. It can combo with other damaging spells. Yeah, this Wallop card, pretty good. So Darkness, very, very good spot. So if you're a control player, Darkness is probably where you want to be. Next deck is Lurk. Yes, I hate Lurk. I'm not a fan of Lurk, but sometimes I don't like to think when I play Legends of Runeterra. And what do I do when I don't want to think when I play Legends of Runeterra is I load up Lurk. This deck has a very low decision making, a very low skill expression. It is very much just an I'm going to play Lurk because I want to win and I don't want to think. So if I hit my Lurk, I'm happy. If I don't hit Lurk, oh well. If I hit my champion, I'm happy. If I don't hit my champion, oh well. It's very much just like I'm playing my cards. Oops, I drew my 1-drops. Oops, I hit my Lurk. Oops, I win the game. Type deck. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't hit my Lurk. Oh, I didn't see a champion. Okay, I lost the game. Because of that, this deck is amazing for climbing because every game is extremely quick. And when you're in like Platinum and Diamond, all you really need is a bunch of games over and over and over again, because you just need to win more than you lose, and you will pump out so many games with Lurk. And because Lurk is a very fine-tuned aggro deck, it will win you a lot of games against random garbage. It'll win you games against, bad players. It'll just win you random games thanks to high rolls. And it'll win you a lot more games than you'll catch yourself like randomly losing due to low rolls or unluckiness. A lot of the newest addition to Lurk is basically just Ruthless Predator. It's a way to cheese out a Rek'Sai level up, as well as it's a good way to kill off these back row champions like the Vigars, like the Misfortunes. It's a good way to kill off a lot of quick attack units if your opponent's on that type of deck. Yeah, Lurk is extremely solid in the sense of it's really good for climbing because it plays really quickly. All the games go really quick. And yeah, super easy. So I recommend Lurk to play, even though I personally am not a fan of it. Sometimes I play Lurk just because I'm like, hey man, I really need to climb ladder. I really need to jam out some games, but I don't want to think. So we are going to just kind of play Lurk today. Next deck is the Trundle Gnar Timelines deck, number 4. So this is probably the most difficult deck in these 5. This deck's pretty hard. It's not the easiest deck to play. I know a lot of people think it's super easy. You're just like, oh, haha, me play units, me do removal spells. But it's really difficult. the end game and how you kill people is really easy because it just turns into like, oh, buried in ice hit that stairs, or buried in ice hit you with Trundle, buried in ice hit you with Trundle. But all in all, this game, this deck really, really rewards the players that know how to use their removal spells correctly and know how to get as much value out of every card as possible. In this deck, the goal is to just get as much value as possible from every single card and try to 2-for-1 with every card. And if you can do that, then you will have no problem winning games. The hard part is you don't play very many good value units or value cards if you don't have timelines. So the hard time is going to be if you don't have timelines on turn 1, how are you going to win the game? But if you can learn that and figure out how to do that or outvalue your opponents to last long enough to draw into your timelines and draw into your Trundle, then this deck can take you very, very, very far. This is by far the best like new deck that we got because before the meta was very much filled with like Ionia and aggro, and that smokes Trundle timelines. Right now, people still aren't playing aggro and they still aren't playing Ionia. So until people start jamming Ionia or jamming aggro decks, this Trundle Gnar deck is just going to continue to dominate the meta. So if I were you guys, I would be spamming this Trundle Gnar deck, this Trundle timelines deck, until people start realizing, hey, I need to play aggro. Hey, I need to play some Ionia pile. And until the meta and people realize to start doing that, this deck literally prints you LP. It prints you free LP until people start like respecting it and finding ways to counter it, which, hey, fun fact, I found a way to counter it. It's just more people aren't doing it, so I will collect my free LP beating this deck, while you guys could collect free LP playing this deck and beating everybody that's not me, which, to be fair, it doesn't matter what deck you play because you'll probably never beat me anyways, and I'll still farm you for LP, but this is your best way to farm LP and on anyone that isn't me. And the last deck we're going to talk about is Bandle Tree. If you have absolutely no friends and have nothing to do on Friday nights and have never touched anybody ever in your life, this is the deck for you. I just hate Bandle Tree. Again, I hate a lot of these decks. You'll notice me saying like I hate Darkness, I hate Lurk, I hate Timelines, I hate Bandle Tree, but these decks are just so strong, man. They are so good. Bandle Tree got the addition of Gnar, which is literally exactly what it needed to become a tier 1 deck. And I said this, as soon as we saw Gnar, I said that Bandle Tree is going to be the best deck in the game because now you can play a card from every single region in your main deck and the cards aren't shit. Like, every card in this deck is very good, and it moves you to your win condition of the Bandle Tree, which is just absolutely nuts. You still get your mini morphs, which should probably be taken out for Wallops at this point, because Wallops also synergize with like Ravenous Flock and Scorched Earth. But you get your mini morphs, you get your plethora of fucking removal spells. Like you get Flock, Scorch, Pokey, Buster Shot. Some people play Group Shot. Like you have mini morph for the really, really big things. You just have an easy time removing any units, and then you just spam the board with units. You can attack them sometimes if you get Poppy. Otherwise, you just wait to play your Bandle Tree. This deck smokes every control deck. It smokes Sin of Hygar. A lot of Timelines decks actually play some number of Aftershock to beat Tree. If this deck isn't playing Aftershock, if Timelines isn't playing Aftershock, you beat Timelines. You can usually match Lurk's tempo because you play a shit ton of units. Same with Scouts. You can play a bunch of units on Scouts, and then on top of that, you play like Pokestick Flock to kill the Misfortune. So you play all your removal spells to kill Misfortune. You even have Mini Morph to stop Misfortune from leveling. So all in all, I think this is the best deck in the game. I think this is by far the best deck for ladder. It is just not the most exciting deck to play, but that's fine because not every deck has to be exciting. Personally, if I was trying to get like 1,000 LP and the most LP and on ladder, I would be playing Bandle Tree because that's how broken I think this deck is. So this is by far, in my opinion, the best deck to play on ladder. So if you just want the best deck to play and you want to gain the most amount of LP, this is it. It's just, you're just not going to have a super fun time doing it. Because this deck is not fun, it is very boring, and it is very repetitive. But if you just want LP, this is the deck for you. So that's going to be it for this video. These are the 5 decks to climb a ladder with right now in the new season. These are the 5 decks that are doing the best on ladder, 5 decks that will get you the most LP on ladder. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoy videos like these that tell you all of the, that are like more educational, just like my last video was the like 5 tips on how to hit Masters. This is like 5 decks on how to like win in Masters and get ULP. So let me know if you guys enjoy these types of content, or if you want more gameplay content, meme gameplay content, competitive gameplay content, what you guys want to enjoy. So let me know in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.